Take you swiftly around some of the other courts. First of all, to court 19.
He has been much higher than that. A couple of years ago, in March, he was 30, but has never been past the second round of a Grand Slam championship. Well, now Pat Cash is sitting here with me, and he's been past the second round of many Grand Slam championships, including this one, which he won, of course. And Pat, just let me have a quick comment from you upon what is facing Novak today. First time out on grass this year.
Well, I think he's got a very, very tough situation here. We're obviously coming from clay and meeting, you know, one of the favourites of the tournament, really. Even though Tim may be a slight outside favourite, I still believe him as one of the favourites, and it's a tough job for the young Czech player.
Well, now, as most of you will know, this man is coached, and has been for some years now, by David Felgate. And earlier today, Gary Richardson asked David Felgate to assess Henman's chances.
David, another match at Wimbledon about to begin for Tim. What is he feeling at this stage? Give us a little insight.
What is he feeling? Yeah, he's well prepared. He's had a lot of practice and just looking forward to getting out there and playing.
He's becoming a bit of a veteran, isn't he? This is all old hat to him, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, it's 4th or 5th year, but I mean, there's still the excitement. It's Wimbledon, it's in your own backyard, and you know, if you can't enjoy this tournament, what one can you enjoy?
I just wondered, does he feel maybe so much pressure this year? Because there's been a lot of publicity, obviously, on the World Cup. Has that taken it off him and made it slightly easier for him?
Well, it's plain to see there hasn't been as much attention, you know, because a lot of writers and journalists are over there, but it doesn't change his perception of how he wants to do and how he wants to play, so you just get on with your own job.
And his opponent today, Mr. Novak, what can you tell us about him?
He's the same age as Tim. I think they played quite a few years ago, and Jiri won. He's a very good player, plays well on the hard courts and the clay courts. I don't know his record on the grass. Won a tournament, a challenger tournament yesterday on the clay in Croatia. And as we've seen in the Grand Slams this year, every player has to be taken very seriously. There's been a lot of upsets, so you know, you deal with one match at a time, and Tim's mind is on this match.
And as you say, he played yesterday, a late arrival to London. Perhaps he's not going to be best prepared today. Would you say that?
Well, I'd say there could be better preparation if you've actually had a few more hits on the grass, but still, you know, these grass courts are excellent. He's going to get out there, and I'm sure he's going to be working hard to win. So, as I said, you can't take any opponent lightly.
Wish Tim luck for us.
Will do, thank you.
Cheers.
And I think perhaps the whole nation would echo that, because the hopes of Britain rest on the shoulders of Henman and Greg Ruzetsky, who, as you almost know by now, has suffered that sprained left ankle at Queen's last week, or a couple of weeks ago now, and is nevertheless playing. We're all delighted to hear that. He won't start till tomorrow, and it makes me think that Tim Henman here will be particularly keen to make a fast start and get his confidence going.
I mean, absolutely, it's crucial for anybody to get a good start in a Grand Slam tournament. But you know, Tim has performed very well here, and you know, he knows this court.
1 minute.
And he's not going to want to take Novak too easily. You know, that we talked about the preparation of Novak, and Tim is now wanting to jump straight on to Novak's serve, attack it, and make him feel very uncomfortable.
What sort of a match is it likely to be? Novak, a clay court player?
Well, he's very good on hard court too. I mean, he obviously prefers the slower courts, but in that case, you would expect him to return and pass very well, and perhaps stay back on his second serves, or maybe even first serves, and try and out-rally Tim. But it's going to be very difficult if he hasn't played on grass, and this is why Tim will be very keen, and I expect him to get a good start and an early break, and keep the pressure on, because both the players will be a little nervous.
And keeping the pressure on is what he failed to do signally at Queen's Club a couple of weeks against Tielemans, when he had a winning opportunity and rather frittered it away. True, it was his second match of the day. The rain that week had meant that the players had to perform twice in one day, but it wasn't terribly encouraging the way he lost his concentration.
No, I think Tim has a little bit of a problem in that area. I mean, all players are going to lose concentration at some stage in any match, and it's a matter of how long. And you know, Tim was playing very well, and you know, in control of the match, and perhaps just eased up, got a little tight, and you know, a few games of bad concentration, or maybe not relaxing, or maybe relaxing too much. Either way, and you know, the set's gone, and before he knows it, he's under the hammer. So, in grass court tennis, it doesn't take very long before the player, you know, that can change. The whole frame of the match can change in only a couple of games.
Take your seats quickly, please. Thank you. First set, Henman to serve.
Novak won the toss, elected to receive, so it's Henman to serve.
Well,
that's a confident start. Good second serve in, very close, which is crucial on the grass. It's to push off very hard after the serve and getting close to the net.
All. Start 15.
Very short serve, that.
Really got up with a lot of kick. And that is going to be one that Novak is going to see a lot today. And has got a lot of kick on his serve. Very good, enables him to get in close to the net.
All. Game Henman. First game.
So a confident start by Henman, who I suppose is at the peak of his career at this age. Good things lie ahead for this young man, I feel.
Well, I believe he's got all the shots to be a Grand Slam champion. I think he's you know, proven he can beat just about anybody. And it's a matter of putting it all together, and putting it all together for 2 weeks in your best tennis, producing your best tennis over those couple of weeks, which is, you know, a lot of tough concentration and, you know, applying the pressure and staying focused, very much so, on every single match. And the staying focused part, I think, is something that Tim has just fallen short of as up to date, but it may change.
And what's the problem in the early days of these championships when the courts are green? David Felgate there, just watching his coach.
Well, I mean, the courts are going to be a little bit slower, of course, and the ball's going to bounce a little bit lower. But, you know, Tim's experienced grass court player, and I don't think that's going to bother him at all.
Love 15.
It'll be interesting to see how long it takes this man to get his timing off the ground, because that's the problem when you've not been on a surface.
Love 30.
Of course, he probably also hasn't been serve volleying. He's been on the clay, and it takes a while to get your rhythm for serving and coming in, or just perhaps your rhythm for serving harder second serves.
15, 30.
That's a good serve.
Oh, what a good lob. Always the backhand.
30 all.
That's the side to lob.
Forty, 30.
Because they've never played each other, so they'll take a while to start reading the direction of each other's serves. Lovely touch.
Game, Novak. One game on.
Well, snuck in here, saw Tim hit the high ball, and that's a good touch, because he was a fair way back. He's back at about the service line. Obviously, you can hit drop shot or any volley for that matter. The closer you get, the easier it is. The closer you get to the net, that is, of course.
Out. 15 off.
Well, that's the sort of serve that's going to trouble Novak, certainly this week. Look, that one coming into the body. It's skidded a lot more than a clay court, believe me.
(30-15).
Balls are going to feel just a little heavy on the racket face in these early days when the sap of the grass is picked up on the covers. So they go green very quickly. We change after the first 7 and thereafter every 9 games.
(40-15).
And that's quite a tricky shot there. I mean, it looked kind of easy as Novak was tearing in there, but of course it kept low with the grass and had Henman there at the net. And he had to hit the ball up, first of all, to get over the net, and then down quickly to get it inside the baseline. Not an easy shot to do.
Game Henman. Henman leads by 2-1, first set.
Completely different mindset, Pat, playing on grass as against playing on clay.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, it really is a completely different game. You've got, obviously, I mean, slippery clay courts, which are very hard to move on once you're at the net. It's not so much the pace. Obviously, the pace of a clay court is so much slower that it gives your opponent time to hit a passing shot or to run down the passing shot. But it's so much, if you hit a volley on the clay, if your opponent hits a passing shot and you hit the volley, you keep sliding, and it's very hard to recover to get to that to cover the open court. And of course, even if you do hit a volley, the ball's going to sit up, bounce up, and give your opponent plenty more time. So it certainly helps to be able to have a good serve and volley game on the grass. But of course, we see guys like Agassi and Connors won championships before staying back.
Out. 15 long.
Whoa. Fantastic backhand that was.
15 all.
Standing with the backhand grip, Henman to return serve. And retaining it for the pass. My goodness, what a shot.
(15-30). (15-40).
There was a man unused to the bounce of a grass court.
(30-40).
I really felt that there was opportunity for Tim to get in there, put pressure. He had the 2 break points. He's got a good backhand return. He could have hit that ball and just put a lot of pressure on the passing shot. He's still got it at a break point.
Game, Henman. Henman leads by 3 games to 1.
And doing what Pat Cash wanted him to do, threatening from the net and forcing his opponent to make, or attempt to make, a winning pass. 3-1.
(15 long). (30 long). (30-15).
Well, it wasn't really wide enough or wasn't really close enough to his body. He was going to try and serve into his body. He has to really crowd him. But that was just perfect for Novak.
(40-15).
Well, he thought that was a fault, no question.
Yeah, it was well long. We had a couple of funny calls today with the Cyclops machine. Can't really see that one.
Again, Henman. Henman leads by 4-1, first set.
So the break of serve has been achieved, the 4-1 lead built up. Now, what are the danger points here? When you were playing these sort of matches, expected to win against a person who hasn't had a lot of grass court play, how do you keep the concentration tight?
Well, it's to a certain extent you've, you know, the actually occasion of being out here at Wimbledon, and certainly with the crowd behind you, they don't let you slack up too much because they're oohing and ahhing every time you make a mistake, and that's a good thing actually for Tim. It's certainly fantastic to have this support. You know, I think he's going to be very keen to get in here and keep putting the pressure on, not giving any free points, which means making sure on the second serve you make every ball and put him under pressure. Make obviously as many first serve returns as you can. If the guy serves too well, then that's just too good. And just not letting him have any unforced errors, or not doing any unforced errors, and that's the main thing. Certainly when the guy has not played on the grass courts before, it'd be crazy to throw in some easy shots.
Long.
Well, Tim did some running there. I don't think he was too happy about one of the line calls. But this is what Novak been doing all last week.
30 long.
And the first time I've seen Novak come into the net. Well, after a serve, surprised Henman then.
Long.
Well, a good slice backhand return, angled right down at his feet there.
Game over. Henman leads by 4-2.
Very ambitious last volley from Henman. That's the sort of shot you play when you're really in touch and everything's flowing well. Very ambitious.
I think Tim's got one of the better drop volleys in the game as well.
And there's one on cue.
15 long.
Didn't have to do much with that. No backswing. Just laid the racket back a little bit. Popped it over the net. Very good volleying technique Tim Henman has, which will hold up under pressure. Well, that's Novak's stronger side. His backhand, and then just slipping a little bit. I didn't really have much chance of that one.
It's
actually quite interesting, JB, where Novak is returning. I mean, for a guy who hasn't played on grass, he's really taking the ball inside the baseline. He moves in. It's a tough thing to do against a guy serving as hard as Henman. Of course, the benefit of doing that, it cuts off the angles, and Henman serves a good wide serve by going forward and sideways. Of course, cuts the angle down. It's something you need to do against left-handers.
Well, another of these little careless patches which have marred his performances.
Well, Tim Henman's favourite serve, that one down the tee or down the centre on the second court. It's it very, very well. Quite flat, just a slight bit of outswing. Back to deuce.
Advantage, Novak.
Well, that was a beautiful return. Absolutely beautiful. No swing, blocked the ball, and he hit it early, cut off that angle, and forced the very tough return to Henman. Another break point.
Game, Novak. Ball change, please. Henman leads by 4-3. New balls.
Well, another of those careless patches that we've seen so often in the course of Henman's career, and it's a difficult thing to eradicate this, Pat. Was it anything you ever had a problem with?
I think we all have a problem with that at some stage. Putting in, I think the more matches you get, the tougher you get, and the less unforced errors you end up hitting. But, you know, the concentration is something I work with. I work with a sports psychologist to try and it's to be aware of it a lot of the time. A lot of the time you go out to matches, then you go, well, what happened in that set? I was winning and I lost it. And he quite often makes you aware of it. You come off the court and he says, look, you know, during this period here, you know, what happened? You missed, you know, this easy volley or did this double fold or whatever.
Do you use tapes?
Yeah, I used to do tapes more for the positive things, where I had a lot of good serves or a lot of good forehands that perhaps wasn't working so well. It would give me confidence to see myself hitting a lot of good shots in a row.
Well, Tim had better play another replay of his match against Kafelnikov here a couple of years ago.
Long.
Well, Tim's got one of the nicest backhands in the business, and the forehand just a little inconsistent at times.
Oh. 15-all. That
was a terrific forehand. It's that little bit extra time.
I
think it was a good idea for Tim to come in with that first one there. Just a little too short. Novak had enough time to take that shot.
It's a lovely touch.
40-30.
Well, certainly the
Ladies
shot
and
to
gentlemen,
play.
please be quiet during play and between first and second service. Thank you.
Fair enough too. Very difficult because all cheering for Tim. Once he hears his name being yelled out in the middle of a point.
Yes.
Yes, I don't think he knew whether that ball was in or out at the end of it, but it was in. Here it is again. Lovely footwork here, giving himself a little room to hit the off forehand. Deuce.
Advantage, Novak.
Interesting, Novak's gone out to Henman's forehand almost every point on this side.
Game, Novak. 4 games on.
Well, that ball just hopped a little bit. It was short, and then got on top of it, and just a little bit of a bad bounce. Hopped up and put his balance off. Had to lift up a little bit more and floated it out. Well, he got down well.
15 off.
See, that's good technique that I was talking about. He got down to the ball, was able to dig it out. Probably got the last string on the racket. Really got it over the net. That's the main thing.
Net, second service.
Sudden burst of sunshine.
It's blinding, JB.
Not mercifully from this end.
He's got great touch. So the
Certainly.
one before, that one, look at it, did it almost straight up. Well done.
Forty long. Net for service.
Now that's a great forehand.
40,
Not
15.
quite. That's what I was talking about before. He's not quite getting it into the body and not quite getting it wide enough. He tried that on Novak's backhand. Novak hit the clean winner. Now he's done it on the forehand. His direction's not quite what he wants it to be at this stage.
Game, henman. Henman leads by 5 games to 4, first set.
So good service game from Henman that time. Having lost his previous one, it was important that he should regroup. And you were making the point, Pat, about the direction of the serves. And Novak certainly, if we look now at our caption here, has been serving, as you say, out to Henman's weaker wing, the forehand, in the first court there, but has been serving more to the backhand side in the second court. And if we look now at Henman's same statistics where he's serving, the direction of his serves, they're very even, and I'm sure his purpose is to keep his opponent guessing so that he never quite knows where it's going. Similar figures for both sides.
Well, I think Henman's big flat serve down the tee there with an 8 and a 6. You know, they're the sort of serves that go for aces. Quite often he'll go for on the big point, like he did the very last point, and he did on the break point. He went down the tee, and Novak obviously hasn't been serving and volleying much, and to slide that ball wide under Henman's forehand and get him out of position. And then Novak can try and control the rest of the court with his ground strokes.
Law 15.
Good crowding point.
That's the sort of play you want. The first point of the game, Novak is serving to stay in the first set. Put pressure on him. He's not used to passing on the grass court. Very clever play.
Law 30.
Just applying that pressure in the first point. Now given the opportunity, love 30.
Fifteen 30.